For your Caesar. Cardiff City, ride with me for your Caesar. For your Caesar. Cardiff City, get litty for your Caesar. She want a diff boy. Swagger 1 point, yeah, diff boy. She want a diff boy. Swagger 1 point, yeah, diff boy. For your Caesar. Grab a little something for your Caesar. We the geezers. Swagger stone cold like freezers. She want a diff boy. She want Starvz, not Fitzroy. She want a diff boy. She want Starvz, not Fitzroy. She want a big man. Says she want a man from...
Such a good tune. Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Monday Night Raw. Raw discussion, uncensored discussion. Yes, I'm going to give you a little bit of news. It's not too much, but like a little bit. Just to pique your interest, give you a little bit of excitement for the transfer window. And we're going to talk about the aftermath of Luton. We're going to talk about the week coming up. And we're going to talk about Matthew's first ever preview video. Very shocking.
Live and learn.
No, I'm only joking, mate. I'm only joking.
You knew where I was last night, but it was what time they said it was? About 4 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, it's fine. It was good. No, it was good, mate. It was good. I liked it. And Mondays are absolutely mental for me. And it was nice because I pretty much had a day off today for a change, which was good. Like, I spent the whole day with Becky, which was well overdue. She is a very patient woman waiting for my attention. Luckily my attention is very worth it, so that's the main thing. But indeed, mate, what did you make of Luton Town victory on Saturday, mate? And this is Matthew Angel, by the way, in case you don't know. Superstar Matthew Angel.
I think they've seen my ugly mug enough now over the channel, mate. Yeah, obviously I've been on and we've talked about it. I was on with Evan and Reese on Saturday evening, and obviously you've done the breakdown last night, but I don't think we've been on together since the Luton game Saturday. But yeah, I was really impressed for the first 35 minutes. They got a bit back into it then for the first 10 minutes before half time. But yeah, I just love in the fact how much possession of the ball we got in. At the end of the day, if they haven't got the ball, then they can't do damage to us if they haven't got it. So it's nice to see that the possession football is working. It's something that we haven't been used to over the last couple of seasons. And I just think the more we get used to playing the system, hopefully the hard work's gonna kind of pay off.
Yeah, so I'm a bit of a tactical nerd anyway. So when Errol Bullitt was trying to build something, I could see what he was trying to do. But it was just it was a combination for me of we didn't have the players to do it, and the athleticism and the pace to do it, and the energy more importantly. But we weren't moving the ball quick enough whilst doing it. And I think what we do now very well is we control the tempo of the game. So if we want to slow it down, we slow it down, and if we want to play off 1 or 2 touch, we'll do that. And I think I said to you actually the other day on the show, I think, or certainly I said it on a show, is I think we're a horrible team to play if we get one ahead, because we can pick teams apart a bit. And obviously on Saturday, it was a bit different because there wasn't that much time left. So it was just a case of trying to keep hold of the ball and sitting in and defending, which, again, those young players, the experience of doing that away from home at Wimbledon and at Luton will stand them in good stead as they keep learning through the season. I think ultimately, for me, I think Luton was a massive result, but the shine gets taken off it a little bit if you don't go and put in another performance against Plymouth. But we keep saying with young players, it's going to be up and down. And we haven't really added down. I know the Port Vale game was disappointing in a lot of aspects, but it wasn't that bad. Hindsight,
you could kind of forgive that performance with it being our first away game in League One as well. I think it was a certain element of that. You can kind of think, right, there's a learning curve. Let's take positives away from that, and let's keep building, which is what they've done. So yeah, totally agree with you, mate. Just on the point you said there about Bullitt and the way that he tried to play, and he didn't have the players. Let's be fair, we've lost a large portion of players, and the players that we've got now were there under Bullet, or could have been there under Bullet. So the mentality. Go on.
No,
I was going to say the mentality switch in the players and the work ethic is leagues above from last season. You see the Ollie Tanner injury, he was busting a gut to get and stay that ball going up for a goal kick. He wouldn't have done that last year. No way in the world he would have done it.
Equally, mate, like I agree with you. Like, you know, I was saying last year some of these players should have been playing. Not just me, by the way, other people as well, saying that they should have played them because they're very, very good footballers, regardless of their age. They are good footballers. That was why when I was talking about Bullet, I added on energy at the end because, and I know this is not popular with some people, but in my opinion, a lot of the players who've got out in the summer, some people would have kept. I think they had to go in order for us to play the way we're playing now. I think if some of those players are still here, we're not able to do what we're doing now.
No. And let's be open and honest as well. We have dropped down the league, so you know the standard is not championship football by no far stretch of the imagination. But at the end of the day, we can only play what's in front of us.
Of course, you can.
And at the moment, if I had offered you 13 points out of a possible 15, second round of the Carabao Cup at the start before the season started, I think every Cardiff fan probably would have bit your hand off.
Yeah, 100%, mate, because you never quite knew what the youngsters were how they were going to deal with the physical side of it. And you never quite know, like, there is a couple of good sides in this league, and you never quite know what the drop down is. I don't think that the drop down is massive from Championship to League One. I think the main difference I've noticed is the finishing of the strikers. Like in the Championship, I feel like you get punished if you make a mistake quite often.
The standard of refereeing for me.
Oh, yeah, Jesus Christ. The refereeing is absolutely horrendous. And I can't believe how big a drop that has been. It's really noticeable. And what I really dislike about it is that if it's not Premier League, the Referees Association and all these people, the FA, and they just don't care. Like they never address it. They never, acknowledge that there's an issue. And it's not just us. I'm sure every club has got similar stories. But, you've only got to look at that Joel Colwell penalty. And it's not just that it's a penalty. It's like it's a leg breaker of a challenge. Like it's a really naughty one. And I just think, is it because it's early in the game? All right, you could say that, but like it's still a foul, so it should still be a penalty. So it's like it doesn't make any. You can't really justify it. And that one against Wimbledon, the referee was particularly bad, but it's like you got to just deal with it. And I suppose it's the same for both teams technically, but I mean. Wimbledon got a lot. Wimbledon got a lot of the rubber green, though, didn't they? From that,
yeah. And I had to kind of look at it, and it hasn't really cost us yet. Those decisions. We've been lucky enough to kind of get through the games without having to rely on,
it'll come
a penalty to win the game. We've kind of got through it without the need of having that decision go our way type of thing. But there will come points during the season where you do need those decisions to go your way because, I know we've had a couple of 1-0 victories already, which again could have gone either way. Let's not, Luton had chances before we scored. They should have buried one in the bottom right-hand corner. So, it's going to happen. There'll be games, like you said, there's going to be ups and downs throughout the season. And yeah, you just want the consistency there, don't you?
Yeah, of course. Let me ask you a question, mate. Having watched all the games so far, what do you think we lack in terms of what you think is like missing? Like, what's the final piece in the jigsaw for you? Is it just depth, or is there a specific?
Yeah, I think an element of depth, obviously, with a couple of injuries now that we have picked up with obviously the serious one to Ollie Tanner. and David Turnbull on Saturday. I think that was more precautionary. I haven't seen anything BBM's come out and said any more on Di Turnbull, to be honest. So I'm hopefully, a couple of days rest type of thing and some treatment, and hopefully he's not going to be too far away. But the only other thing for me is a bit more composure and a bit more clinical in that final third, because I think we've had so much possession of the ball, as a fan, and, not, what's the best way to put it? I think because we've had so much possession during the games, you expect, or you want them to be going and pumping sides 3-4, 5-0. But obviously it's not happening.
I think that will come though, mate.
100%. I think there'll be a couple of teams this year who will feel the wrath of BBM's tactics, I think.
And I don't think teams will want to play us either. Like, if you listen to some of the opposition managers already this season, a few of them have already commented like how difficult we are to play against. And it's not just about the keeping of the ball. I think it's the off the ball stuff. Like, as soon as we lose the ball, we're so quick to get it back, and we win the ball so high up the field that actually takes the pressure off, like Ryan Wintle, a little bit. Whereas last year we lost the ball, and opposition teams would play one pass and you'd be through into the back four. You'd be into the back four. And I think, Ryan Wintle's done a fantastic job so far. I still stand by that a more athletic number 6 would transform it. But if we knock together, which I don't think we will, I think Ryan Wintle's fine. And I think Eli King is a good backup. But the reason I asked you on what you think, so I had an interesting conversation with two of my mates actually separately today and they were kind of leaning towards, we don't need a winger. What we need to do is we need to play Nyakahawa. And actually another one who plays on the wing, who I was rightly reminded of yesterday by Martin, is Will Spears, who obviously impressed in pre-season. He's predominantly a right back, but he plays on the wing. He's very quick. He's very good at carrying the ball, and he's very good at linking up play and crossing. And it's an interesting one, because it's like, why go and spend money on a sign-in, or why go and get a loan sign-in if you have got a 17, 18-year-old who is direct and pacey and plays without fear? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying that is the case. I'm just saying, do you want to get someone in who, if you bring in, say, whoever, like Esperan Wilson, say, right, to play wide, whether it's at left back or left wing or whatever, he is going to take the place of someone. And that could be Isaac Davis. It could be whoever, one of the youngsters coming up. And it's like, is he worth the wages and the money, or is he any better than the youngsters that we've got who are on the fringes already? I don't know. It's an interesting one for me.
I think he's very clever, and he's shrewd in his business, BBM, to be fair, and the way he communicates and talks in his press conferences. I could listen to him talk for hours. Might have to slow it down a little bit, but I just love the way he speaks. He's open, he's honest. He's openly said he's only going to bring in people that's going to improve the quality. Now, obviously, there's nothing hidden about the facts that he's got contacts with Man City, this, that, and the other. And I think the benefit in that, obviously, he's been in the building now for, I don't know, however many weeks, 8 weeks or whatever. So he's got to see, some of the youngsters. He's been open and honest. He's gone to watch the under-21s games as well, which I love. I think what game was it on the Tuesday night? We were at home, and I think they were playing in the afternoon. And he was over there watching that. And I just think that, he's shown interest there as well. And let's be fair, he's not afraid to give the youngsters a crack. And, has paid dividends so far. And
to me, mate, I'm not really interested in how old they are. It's whether they improve the team and they're good enough to play week in, week out. Like, I'm not really bothered if we sign a 27-year-old or if we sign a 18-year-old from Man City, as long as they can come in and they're of the quality that we need to take us forward. Like, honestly, I just think these days it's not, age doesn't matter. Like,
No, and that's proven now with Ronan Capaccio and Dylan Lawler. obviously with Nathan Trott's 4 consecutive clean sheets in the league, I suppose that gives those 2 in front of the keeper so much confidence, knowing that they've got someone solid in between the sticks behind them. So if they do make a mistake, they can, call up on Trott. He was outstanding Saturday, absolutely outstanding.
And just to kind of point to you where Nakagawa is in terms of how people rate him and stuff like that. He's been linked with a loan to Anderlecht. Now, that's really interesting that's come out. Like, I think it came out today. And I'll tell you why it's interesting, because I spoke to 3 separate people today who I genuinely, like, if they tell me something, I'm pretty sure that that's somewhere around what's happening. Like, and they all sort of indicated that a winger is not necessarily going to be something that we're looking to bring in now. They've kind of changed their minds in it, which is really interesting to me, because if that was the case, Nakagawa is the one who I would expect to be stepping in. So I reckon maybe it's not a priority and we get a winger like right at the last minute or something. I don't know, but it's fascinating, like to be told that and then to see that rumor, because he's the one, isn't he? Like, he's the one who was on the fringes at the start. He's been around the first team squad. He's there, and he's also the one who was very direct and skillful. And I thought he was probably the pick of the wingers in pre-season, really.
Yeah, well, I look at that then, and like you said, I think there's no way that they're going to agree to that if we haven't got somebody coming in.
Yeah, you can't send him out on loan and not bring someone in, can you? You just can't, like, even just purely from a numbers point of view. But like, if he's good enough to play for Anderlecht, I do start to question, like, why isn't he playing for us?
Yeah,
we're in League One. Like, if Anderlecht want him on loan, I would say that he's probably going to play. But there we go. So then the other thing, which I've been speaking to with the 3 different people, those same sort of 3 different people, and they all sort of said the similar sort of thing, was that someone's coming in on a permanent, and it's not cheap either, apparently, which is an interesting one. And then another on loan. If I was guessing, and this is purely guesswork, this is not from anyone, I would say my guess would be that Lawrence from Man City would be the loan. I think he fits the profile of what BBM likes. He knows him. He can play a few different positions. So he is a goal machine. Like, he's quality. If he can obviously replicate that in men's football and stuff, but like, he's a very, very, very good footballer. Like, so that'll be interesting. That would be my guess. The permanent one, I'm a bit more. There's a 16-year-old in the 21s, Robert Tankovic, player and a half he is. He's only 16.
Did you see that Arsenal? Did you see that 15-year-old Arsenal player come on the weekend?
It's mad, isn't it?
What a baller he's going to be.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. That's what I mean about age, mate. It don't matter. Like, it's whether they're good enough and they've got the mental ability to do it, like, and deal with the pressure. Because that's half the battle.
It's mad to think, like, is your boy 15 or you're older again?
60, right? Yeah, he's a year above. Like he's played a bit of men's football over the last year, and even just the grassroots, like the step up from under 16s to men's football is massive, mate. The physical side of it and stuff. And you think just a grassroots. Now you think of it from an academy where they're very, very kind of mollycoddled and the rest of it. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It just is what it is. And then you're going into an environment where you've got 20,000 fans screaming at you, and like, it's a lot of pressure, isn't it? And sometimes kids just play with no fear, and they can deal with it, and sometimes they're going to go into their shell. If I was guessing, and again, it's just a guess, like, because I haven't been told the names. If I was guessing who the permanent one was, I reckon it might be that Gabriel Osho, but again, that's pure guesswork. Like, but the three different people, and that's why I'm more than happy to talk about it, is because I'm not burning anyone. It's three different people have said the same thing now, and I always try to do that, is try and kind of get it, so you're sort of talking the same sort of thing. The only thing with Osho is he doesn't fit the bill in terms of a left-footed centre back, but we got some wicked players in the 21s, mate. I really like Will Spears, I do, and I would love to see him get an opportunity. I know I saw someone say about he's a right back. You don't want to put him on right big, but he plays on the wing as well. I don't think he's nailed down as a he's not nailed down that he's going to be a right back. I think he plays right back and right wing. So I'd be interested. Hopefully it comes off. The one thing I've kind of come to terms with this summer is every week I've been telling me this week, yeah, two coming in this week, and
if it doesn't happen this week, but it's not happening at all.
Well, this is it, but I have to say, out of those three people, I think only the one of them had sort of indicated that something was happening earlier on in the window, so that's probably a good sign. I do think I would in one way, I think, yeah, look, if you'd added just an example, O'Connell from Wrexham, a centre back, 27 in the League One, gets League One Team of the Year last year. If he comes in, I think that's a good signing. He can play the way the manager wants, etc. But also, which one of Fish and Lawler are not playing then? Because in my opinion, they've been two of our best players all season. So it's you've got to be careful with it, because what we're doing now is working.
Just a question here from Gav.
On the red button,
watch the
on
Cardiff
Sky
game tomorrow. What channel is it on? Get down the stadium. Get your tickets.
Get in the stadium, innit?
Come down and join me and Simon down there.
It's on Sky Plus, I think. Whatever, I don't know, whatever Sky is on, red button or whatever.
I don't think they covered it last year, did they? I'm pretty sure.
Well, the Carabao Cup, I think it's on the red button sort of thing.
Is it?
Especially the early rounds, but I think they can play any, they can play under 18s, under 21s. Doesn't matter that they haven't been given squad numbers and stuff like that. But I'm thinking that Louis Giles has got a knock because he haven't been playing for the 21s either, unless he's either got a knock or he's got a loan in place and they're just trying to tie it all down a bit effectively. But it's weird that he hasn't played at all.
Yeah.
On tomorrow, mate, out of the young, the 21, sort of the ones outside of the first team, I guess, is there any which you would like to see get a choice? Because I don't think he'll rotate, the whole 11 and play all the kids. I think it'll be a bit of a mix, and I think strong.
I think to be honest, I don't think he's going to use many of the 21s tomorrow. I think obviously Perry NG will probably come in for Capaccio. I think in my prediction earlier, I think I put Lawler and Chambers at centre defence, and I think I put Mafiko. I got a funny feeling he might give him another crack there. And obviously, if Nakaya were speaking to other clubs, I'd be very surprised if he's involved in the squad tomorrow.
I guess we'll find out if there's any truth to that. I guess that he's going to go out on loan because you'd think he'd be in the squad otherwise.
Yeah.
I did wonder whether Perry NG might play at centre back with Chambers, and they give for me, Fish, I think has played every minute of every game. I think Lawler's only missed one game. Ruben's played a lot of minutes. Ryan Wintle's played a lot of minutes, and Joe Bagan. You've got to rest Joe Bagan for me. You have to, because he simply can't play every minute of every game in every competition.
No.
He just can't. So you've got to give him a rest. So I mean,
and it's all good and well 5 or 6 games in, and I think I said on the preview same about Ruben Colwell. At the moment, his fitness levels are, we've raised the bar incredibly, and he's the amount of run. I'd love to see his stats after the game and how much he runs, because at the moment he's all good and well in the short term, but that's not sustainable for me. I don't think he's going to be able to do that twice a week for 46 games type of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Well, if he is going to do it, you've got to give him a break, haven't you? At certain times,
Yeah,
you've got to take him off. You've got to give him a week off in the cup and stuff. And the one player I would keep Chris Willock in, because I think Chris Willock is a confidence player, and I think after that,
I'd play him in Ruben's position, give him that free role in the 10 position, I think.
So the problem is, and I was thinking about this earlier, is because that was my fault as well. But we don't play like a 4-2-3-1 like we did previously. It's more of a 4-3-3 with the two either side really sort of attacking number 8s. And I'm not sure Willock has got that side of it with him. If we could, it's only a little tweak, I suppose, to do a genuine number 10, I guess. But I would like to see Alex Robertson get some minutes. If he's not ready to start, give him 20 minutes off the bench. Perry NG, give him an hour, because they need to be ready to play ultimately, don't they? If Kipakio could get a knock on Saturday, and Perry NG could be on in the second minute, so he's got to be fit and ready to play. Yeah. There's a couple of youngsters I'd like to. I think I'd like to see Will Spears. I'd like to see Luke Pearce get a go. I think Luke Pearce's form deserves a go as well. But I don't think he'll change much. I think I'd play Salic as well, try and get him a couple of goals, just because he's had the crap kicked out of him this season already. And I think a couple of goals just lift his head a bit and just get some confidence in him. But
from a Cheltenham point of view, then how do you think they'll approach the game tomorrow? Obviously, it's a massive game for them as well. But they've got a game against Salford, I think.
Salford on Friday, isn't it? Yeah, they've got to rotate, really, because they can't afford to get relegated again, can they? So
they're obviously bottom of the league, haven't picked up a point in the first 5 games, I think it was. So it's I think they conceded 11 goals in the first 5 games.
Yeah, so they've got to get going, haven't they? They got to get going, like in the league. I mean, so I would expect it to be probably a little bit of a rotated side.
Yeah, I think sometimes you can see that as a potential banana skin, because you've got players then who are perhaps not playing week in, week out in the league. And the players are obviously, their league form is poor, to put it politely. But it gives those players stepping in and having an opportunity tomorrow against Cardiff to put themselves in a shop window, to perform, to get a league spot, really. So, we can't go into the game half-hearted and just assume we're going to steamroll them 4-5-0. It'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to. I think Jamie put something in the chat that we'll find out 1:00. So I'm guessing the 21s or 23s.
Yeah, 21s have got a game lunchtime. So we'll see in it. We'll see who's playing and who's not. It'll be easy to see. It'll be. I think it'd be interesting. Who else? Eli King, I think's got to play for me.
Yeah,
partially because Wintel's got. I think he needs a break. But also, I think Eli needs to be ready as well in case something happens to Wintel. They've got to be ready to step in, because the way that he plays, you want it to be seamless. So whoever plays, we play the same way, the same intensity, the same level. And then for that to happen, everyone's got to be fit, haven't they, and sharp. And look, I think as well, people forgetting how good Alex Robertson is as well, because we've been so good in. Joel Colwell's come into the side. David Turnbull suddenly looks like a player. You've almost forgotten that Alex Robertson's a real good footballer who's going to be much more suited to play in how this manager wants to play than the previous managers. So you might see the best out of him. He also absolutely tore it up for Portsmouth in League One before, which is why we ended up signing him. So he's one who, we've got to get him fit. The good thing is we haven't got to rush him back like we did last year because we have got options.
Yeah.
Is a little outlier for you then. I would actually like to see Mafiko play in the number 6 tomorrow. After the way the manager spoke about him after that, a difficult appearance for him in left back, and he talked about him as an elite number 6. I'd like to see that against a League 2 side who are struggling. It's going to be a tricky game because they're going to be up for it, and it's a free hit for them. I'd actually quite like to see him and Eli King alongside each other with maybe Willock in front. Just give it a try. At the end of the day, you're going to have players on the bench, and I guess the problem is who do you play left back then? Is if you haven't got any, you could bring Beecher up from the academy, I guess, or you could. Perry NG's played left back before, mind, but I don't know. I think Mafiko will play left back.
Pacquiao moved out, didn't he, the other night when was that against Wimbledon when Callum Chambers come on for the last 10 minutes?
Yeah,
and he done really well there as well. But again, I would probably try and. If you'd asked me when I was playing rugby at 18, I'd want to play every minute of every single game. But, you've got to look at the standard they're playing week in, week out, the physicality. It's all about managing. You've got to manage him, haven't you? If he's knocking on the door and he's saying to BBM, I'm hands up, I'm busting, I want to play, then I suppose that's something you got to look at.
Anyone who's played like sport as an adult, right? Football, cricket, rugby, whatever. After you've played a full competitive league game, you feel like your body's falling apart, like afterwards, and it takes you a couple of days to recover. Like you think about, you mentioned Ruben earlier. Think about how much ground he's covered. He must come off that pitch, and his whole body has just got to be on fire. Like he's got to be aching. And I just think sometimes you've got to protect players from themselves. Ronan Pacquiao had a serious knee injury last year. He's played a lot of minutes for us, and he's been exceptional. Like he's been even better than I expected him to be. Like because I knew he was good going forward and stuff, but it's actually his defensive work and his ability to invert into the midfield. Like I thought he did that really, really well for us on Saturday in the second half. Instead of just going on the sort of overlap or the underlap, he was coming into the center and taking it, driving sort of diagonally in through, and it opened Luton up a couple of times, and I think it's clever.
It did. I think he had a bit of a spell 10, 15 minutes into the second half where he couple of heavy touches, and he had his hands full against that alley on the left-hand side on Saturday. I wouldn't say it was the strongest game he's had for us, but I don't think he's been probably worked as hard as what he probably did on Saturday. So again, there's another learning curve for him. He learned from that game, and let's be, I'm not slating him at all. He still had a really good performance, but I think he'll take a lot of learning away from that battle he had with Ali on our left-hand side for me on Saturday.
Yeah, I think it was like the one thing which was noticeable on Saturday with Pacquiao was that Ali was so quick that he was able to get, like Pacquiao wasn't able to get back in with him with his recovery pace, which up until now, we haven't seen that really. He's been able, if they do get past him, he's kind of able to get back and block the cross, and he wasn't able to do that. So, like, it's a tough game for him, but I still thought he was good. Like, it's like, it was a difficult game, but you've got to expect difficult games. Some teams are going to have good players. When we play the likes of Stockport and Bradford and people, like, they're going to have good players, and we got to be able to deal with it. These young players. Joel Colwell's one for me. I've looked at it, and I just think he adds so much when he's on the pitch. Like his ability to carry the ball 15, 20 yards takes the pressure off, and he seems to win a lot of free kicks.
Yeah.
He seems to not get a lot of free kicks, mind, as well. Like a couple of times he's been flattened and the refs don't give it. But there's going to be, we're going to get injuries at the end of the day. Like I know previously, probably about 18 months ago, the club generally was a bit concerned that Dylan Lawler couldn't play three games a week, like physically. he'd struggle with it. Well, now he's in men's football and he's playing a couple of games a week. So maybe he's one you give a rest to tomorrow. And, Chambers needs some game time. Get him in there. And then you either go with Fish. You could go with... Darlin's still there. He hasn't gone anywhere. So could he play? Like, you think if he's going, his head might not be in it. But, still a professional, isn't he?
Yeah. There's a comment there I just wanted to bring up. See if I can find it. I think it was off Jeff. Yes, here we go. Capaccio playing back too many times for me. Now, I think, again, this is my opinion and my opinion only, right? So it'd be interesting to see what you say. I think this is where it has slightly frustrated me. I wouldn't necessarily, he's not the only one, but at the moment, we're very confident in keeping hold of that ball, and it's very much side to side, looking for that pass to thread through. And, if he's not on that right-hand side, then I think he's probably been told, be patient, play it back, and we build and we kind of go again, not to try and force balls and lose balls.
Yeah, exactly that, mate. It's also the whole point of what we're trying to do, which actually was less effective against Luton because of the narrow pitch. But when teams are set, like Luton are very good at being compact and difficult to play through. So you've got to go backwards and sideways to move them. And then at a certain point, it'll go into, say, Wintle, and he'll bounce the ball back to the Fish, and then Fish will try and switch it quickly, or whoever, like Lawler. So they'll move it backwards and sideways, and they'll move. So everyone's got to shuffle across, and then they'll use a Wintle or whoever as a wall pass and switch it quicker. You just got to do it, because if they've got 11 men behind the ball, if Capacchio's got it like on the halfway line, and there's 11 men behind the ball, if he just lumps it up to Salic, say, like Salic is competing against two centre backs and a number 6 in front of him most times, just giving the ball away needlessly. If we've got a ball and we look after it, the other team can't score. Yeah. And I think, look, it is a different way of playing to what we're perhaps used to, but I think we're doing well with it. And like the other side of that is Dylan Lawler, Capaccio, Fish. They all look to break lines with their passing, and if the pass is not on, then they'll go sideways or back and keep hold of it. But I think like Dylan in particular is really good at like threading the ball through. Like he looks for Joel Colwell a lot to feet, just kind of lay it off and then play up the wing or whatever. It's also difficult, I think, when you've got a winger on his side in Ashford, who's technically excellent, does a real good job, but he doesn't, a lot of the time, he won't go in behind. He wants the ball to feet. And if that gets cut off, if the fullback's tight to him and the sort of left centre midfielder or the left winger is kind of in that area, blocking it into his feet, you can't, like, that's taken Ashford completely out of it. So you have to sort of think, like, where else is he going to go? And that's why I think you see quite often Capaccio will carry it and drive into the space, and then he might look to, to go back or to sideways or whatever. But it's that drive into space.
It's everybody's entitled to their opinion, and
of course,
Jeff's comment. But I've been impressed with Capaccio, how much he does go forward. Like his goal against Peterborough pretty much typifies everything we've said about how much he's willing to drive forward, gets into positions to allow Ashford to have more space on our right-hand side. I think he's been our best player so far. Probably Ruben Colwell being our star player, but he's right up there with him.
Yeah, I think I try to find the comments. Like Jeff just said there, 2 seasons ago, Wintle was slated for it. So I do get like the correlation between like one slated for going backwards, but there's also a way of going backwards. And I think the problem, which people had with Wintle previously, and not just Wintle, I think it was just the way we played under Errol Bullock was very slow and lethargic, and like it was like lacking in urgency or lacking in creativity. Like there was no thought of going forward. It was always just backwards, slow, sideways. Whereas I think in this way of playing, and I also think particularly Capaccio, his first thought is to carry the ball forward and look for a forward pass. But equally, he's not just going to give it away needlessly, I think. And I think like it's just one of them. And it's also modern football. Like teams are taught now and they like don't just give it away. And, years ago, perhaps it would have gone in the channel for the striker to run onto. But years ago, defenders played a much higher line. So there was space in behind. So if you didn't have a pass on, teams would just drop it over the top for the winger or whatnot.
Let's not forget the young man's 18 years old as well. He's played less than 10 league games for Cardiff. So, he's learning, like I said, every single game. He would have taken so much away from that Luton game, having that battle he did with Ali on Saturday. And that'll make him a better player, without shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, it's been fascinating as well. Like, as like last year, I was banging the drum to put Will Fish in a bloody side like all season. It was doing my head in, and then he came in and he was very good, but he would just switch off at times, lose his man and stuff. But I think he's addressed that this year. I think his concentration
his distribution for me
way better, and his passing is exceptional. Isn't it?
Some of the diagonal balls he's been pinging around is been brilliant.
Yeah, and just to finish up. Before we jump over onto the member show, Mark said that Bagan has been excellent this year. Boy, does he love a tackle, proper old school. 5 yellows by the end of September. I think he's been superb, mate, but not just in his defensive work. From probably the Swindon game, since then, I think he's just been going forward. I think he's been really good as well. And he is actually one who's ended up getting in behind other teams, like behind the fullbacks.
Yeah.
And I think
I'm
Bagan's
pretty sure this is
excellent.
something that you mentioned before about having Bagan and Capaccio, about them both not going forward. You kind of either one's going to go and one will stay, rather than having two. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just end up leaving yourself exposed. And
and I think at the moment is working. I've loved Bagan. I think he's a solid 7 out of 10. He's not afraid to put a challenge in. Yeah, I know it comes with a yellow card most games, but sometimes that's, you need that challenge sometimes, to try and, get everybody galvanized and think, winning a game here type of thing.
Yeah, 100%, mate. And I think as well with, I think I said it the other week, I think with Bagan is he seems to really understand what a manager wants from him. Like he seems to understand the system. So sometimes you'll see him overlap. Sometimes you'll see him next to Wintle, and he just knows when to do it. And I also think, like, when you're playing a single pivot in Wintle, and you've got two really high up number 8s in the Colwell brothers, say, like the Colwells literally are playing off Salic at times. Like you've got literally Wintle in the midfield, so you need a Capaccio or a Bagan to drop in that space, or you need Fish or Lawler to be really high and pressing. There was a point, there's been a point a few times this season where every single player from the Cardiff City side is in the opposition half, apart from Trott. Like they're all like the two centre backs are like on the edge of the centre circle on the other side because we're pressing them so far back. And I just think like enjoy it, innit? Because like I said last night, there's going to be bumps in the road at some point. We're going to go through a bad spell. Some of these young players may feel the pressure, whatever it may be. So just enjoy this positive start. And hopefully, like I do hope we bring in a couple to support them because I just don't think it's fair. But then I did say last night, I don't know if you saw it, right, Matt? I said last night, is we do keep waiting for these young players to have that like inconsistent bit. But equally, if I'm just like hypothetically saying this, right? Say Capaccio or Lawler or Ruben or whoever, say any of them are going to go and play at the tip-top level of football. Yeah, they're going to be international footballers. They're going to play in the Premier League, Champions League, whatever. If they are that good, which we don't know yet, like there's so many variables which come into it, maybe they don't have that dip that normally young players have this season. Maybe they don't. Maybe they just keep going and going and going. I think it's unlikely because I think you get injuries and they get tired and pressure and all the different things that come into it. But maybe they don't. We don't know, do we? Because it's their first season as men's football, so we just don't know if they're going to have that dip.
Yeah. But it's nice this year that, I don't know, it's as if we're looking for negatives to talk about rather than focus on the positives. There was so many negatives.
Yeah, you got to find it.
There were so many negatives last season that we didn't really have to look for them. They hit us square in the face. And I think at the moment, there's a lot of people, and like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinion, but I think, let's enjoy the positives. Let's not focus too much on the negatives. We're 5 games into the season, 13 points out of 15. We're top of the league. Let's bloody enjoy it. We haven't had this for a good few years. So let's park the negative bus and let's get on the positive train, I reckon.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Like I just try and say what I see in it, and there hasn't been that many negatives. There's been a few, but not many. I think, look, I'm going to be brutally honest. If the window shuts on Monday or whenever it is, and we haven't signed a player other than Nathan Trott, that's a problem. Like, it is a problem, because I think Brian Barry Murphy's done his part of the deal. The club have got to do their part of the deal, But we shall see, mate. We shall see, because I still think there might be at least one which goes out. So, apart from Darland, I do think there may be others, another which goes. Don't know who, but I just got a feeling that there may be another one which goes out. So you got to anyone who goes now has got to be replaced for me. I think we haven't replaced O'Dowda, which means we're light at left back. Anybody leaves, we have to replace them. And on top of that, we already need players.
Just leave the outgoings now till January. If we carry on the way we're going, we'll have the league wrapped up by Christmas, and then we can afford to let a couple go then in January.
As long as we don't sell Ruben or Salic or Lawler, mate, I'm happy.
Yeah.
If we keep them 3 for this season, I'll be happy, mate. I really will. But we shall see. Right, we're me and Matt are jumping over onto the members show. So if you're a member, make sure you jump over on and join us now. You can join on Cardiff City World. Just hit that join button and then go to the members tab on the channel, and it's on there. Or if you're a Patreon, I sent the email earlier with the link in patreon.com/AcePodcastNation, and I'll even make it easier for you. You can scan that code, which is in the corner. You could join, and we shall continue this conversation and various other ridiculousness. Newcastle wants Salic. Well, then that means that he'll probably go to someone else.
We'll have Isaac instead then.
Yeah, we'll have Isaac. Straight swap.
We'll talk about that on the member show now. That's the first point we'll talk about.
There we go. Right.
See you in a bit.
Keep it faith. See you at the game tomorrow.
Rascal Beats.
For your Caesar. Cardiff City, ride with me for your Caesar.